Hi, Rocky.
Hey, Jeremy, what's up?
Thanks for doing this with us.
My pleasure. I'm glad I could help.
All right. When did your family first come to the island?
Whew. My great grandmother came from the Azores. We're Cape Verdean to begin with. So hundreds of years ago. I mean, she didn't speak any English. My family grew up on Cherry Street. We're from the Cherry Street, Orange Street, Day Street area. That's where my family lived, so at least 100 years ago.
Has Nantucket always been like your home base?
Yep. Believe it or not, and I wasn't born on Nantucket. I'm not a native. My mom was a single parent, and she didn't have the support that she needed. So we went to New Bedford, where her mother and sister lived. And I was born at St. Luke's in New Bedford, and then was back 4 days later. So if you ask all the other natives, I wouldn't be considered a native, but this has always been my home base. Yes.
What was it like on Nantucket when you first started growing up here?
Quieter. A lot of people ask me that question, and you never realize that you were on an island until you wanted to go away. The boys' club was always there. It was in the same spot where you guys go now. It wasn't as nice as it is now. When I went to the boys' club, Jeremy, it was the boys' club. It wasn't the boys and girls club. Girls were only allowed to go to the boys' club on Monday nights from 6 to 9. So you know where all the boys were every Monday night from 6 to 9?
Outside.
Outside the boys and girls club.
What's your favorite things to do on Nantucket?
My favorite things to do on Nantucket is volunteer. And through that, I've coached you a couple of times in basketball. I get the most pleasure out of that because you can do a lot of different things to volunteer. You can work with young kids. You can work with kids your age. You can work with the elderly. And it seems to me that if you're not giving back, you're taking. So I get a lot out of volunteering.
What are your favorite things to do for the community?
For the community?
Yeah.
Well, you're in 7th grade right now. My daughter's a sophomore in college. I've been volunteering at the elementary schools since Katie was in kindergarten. So now she's a sophomore. My biggest things volunteering is kids and the elderly. All the millennials, you can help yourselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The elderly, I think it's not their choice. They don't have a voice. So if I have to be it, so be it.
Yeah. What does community mean most to you?
Community means involvement. It means family. It means everyone helping one another. You're a Boy Scout, right?
Yeah.
What does community mean to you?
Helping people.
Right. And that's what a community does. They help one another. You can see on Nantucket, Jeremy, that when someone has been hurt, injured, or sick, I'm not sure of many other places around that I've heard of where community comes together and helps those in need. And that's what a community does.
What was your education like on Nantucket?
My education, I'm really going to age myself here, but I went to Academy Hill. Do you even know where that is?
Yeah.
Where is it?
It's on the big brick building.
Right. That's where I went to. There's 3 floors, and then I went to CPS, and I went to the old high school before the addition was on. I thought I had a great education. I see how hard these teachers work, and I think education is that you get out of it what you put into it. And you can see that by some of the schools that are accepting the kids from Nantucket. So, now's the time for you kids in 7th grade and 8th grade and 9th grade. Don't wait till 11th grade. Now's the time to think about community service. Now's the time, because what you're doing now, you're making a resume for college. What my daughter's doing in college right now, outside of her academics, is creating a resume for her job. So everything's kind of a resume.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah. If you continued going to college, where do you think you'd be now?
My druthers, I would have went to Bridgewater State, played basketball, got my communication major, and would have been on Sports Center. That was my dream job. But you know what? Things happen for a reason. And who knows if I would have done that, would I have a beautiful wife and 2 beautiful kids and be here talking to you right now today?
My focus is you in the chicken box. When did you first work there?
Well, my partners and I, John Jordan and Thomas Pacquiao, bought it in May of 2000. So this is our 19th summer, believe it or not. And I've been working there for over 25 years. That job is, I started that job as a door guy. The guy who cleans the toilets and that kind of stuff, and worked my way up. So there's not a job that I can't tell any of the people who work me not to do because I've done them all.
Do you still serve fried chicken at the chicken box?
No. You know, the guy who started that, his name was Willie House. He was from down south. And what Willie did, Brandon, he was a domestic. You know what a domestic is? That's a servant who came up, and he came up with a lot of people of color from down south. And when he got out here, there was no places. It wasn't just African Americans, it was anyone of color. They had no place for their people to go. So I call him the Black Colonel Sanders because he made some good chicken. I had the chicken. So he bought the chicken box. But he didn't just buy the chicken box. He bought the whole block. Okay?
How rich was he?
He was, well, back in the day, it wasn't that expensive. He was just smart. He just saved his money. And he was friends with a lot of, blues music. I'm not sure if you're down with the blues, Brandon, but that was the music of their culture. So like Muddy Waters is played in the chicken box and bands like that. And they would, so what he started doing is he said, so he made his own fried chicken, his collard greens, his cornbread. And when he passed it on to Seaweed, he said, I ain't selling you the recipe. So that stopped then when the second owner bought it. There's only been 3 owners of the chicken box. Willie House, Robert Reed, myself, Thomas Norton, and John Jordan. And it's been there since 1947.
And that's it.
All right, man. Thank you.
Something that was interesting about Rocky Fox was the story that he told me about the fried chicken at the chicken box. I was always curious about why they stopped doing it, and he told me because the guy stopped being the owner.
Something Rocky told me about was that you should always try your hardest in school and make sure you always go further. And it's not like a game, it's like your life.